The battlefield was ash. Smoke curled in the air, thick with the smell of blood, metal, and something worse. Fear. Alien war machines lay broken across the scorched ground. The sky above burned with the glow of orbital fires. In the middle of the silence stood a man. Admiral Jack Mercer, uniform torn, eyes hard. His weapon hung low, still warm. Around him, silence spread like a graveyard. Not one enemy left standing. Not one ally left breathing. Just Jack. That was the last day of the Terran Wars. Soon after, the Unified Planetary Accord, a council of the most powerful alien civilizations, delivered their final ruling. Humanity is hereby banned from participation in all military conflict across Accord space, effective immediately. No trial, no appeal, just exile. Year 2437. The command tower of UPA Central floated in orbit above the planet Varelia. Inside, voices shouted over each other. A hologram showed the spread of red dots, Silphar swarm positions, crawling across half the planet. "We're losing Varelia," said High Commander Tisarn, his voice tense. His skin shimmered with green scales. 10 sectors gone in 1 week. A tall, silver-skinned diplomat slammed his hand on the table. "You know what must be done." Silence. "No," another snapped. "Absolutely not. We banned them for a reason. We banned all of them. We only need one. Using him would break every law we agreed upon." Tisarn leaned forward. "Laws don't matter if there's no galaxy left to follow them." Far away, on the icy edge of UPA space, a small station blinked alone in the dark. A single ship docked there. No other life signs for miles. Inside, a man worked quietly, fixing an old reactor core. His beard was thick, his uniform stripped of any rank. A scar ran down his left cheek. Jack Mercer hadn't spoken to anyone in 6 years. The door buzzed. He ignored it. It buzzed again. A louder knock followed. "I'm not interested," he said without looking up. The door opened anyway. A young envoy stepped in, clearly nervous. "Admiral Mercer." "Not an admiral anymore. We need your help. The Accord is dying." Jack didn't turn around. They made their choice. They're begging now. Beg someone else. The envoy stepped closer. "It's the Silphar. They've returned. We can't stop them. No one can." Jack looked up for the first time. His eyes were tired. Not old, just worn. "Why me?" "Because you're the only one who's ever won against a force like this." Later that night, Jack stood alone outside the station, staring into the stars. His hand trembled slightly, not from fear, from memory. The lives lost, the things he'd done, the silence that followed. He knew the moment he said yes, there would be no turning back. The ghosts would follow him again. The war would return, but so would the fire. He closed his eyes. "Prep the ship," he said. The UPA transport ship broke through Varelia's upper atmosphere. Fire licked the hull as it descended. The planet below looked like a war zone. Burning forests, shattered cities, black smoke rising in every direction. Inside the ship, Jack Mercer stood near the window, silent. He wore a plain black combat uniform. No insignia, no rank, just a name tag on his chest. Mercer. A soft beep sounded. The ship's comms officer turned toward him. "We'll arrive at Command Base Delta in 60 seconds, sir." Jack didn't reply. He was already staring at the battlefield. The landing pad hissed with steam as the ramp lowered. Jack stepped out into the chaos. Soldiers of all species rushed past, some carrying wounded, others checking weapons. Drones zipped overhead. The base was alive with panic. The moment Jack appeared, everything slowed. Eyes turned toward him. Whispers spread. "That's him. A human. Here. Are they insane?" Jack kept walking. He didn't look left or right. He was used to being watched, judged, feared. At the base command center, a tall alien with dark red skin stood waiting. He wore a decorated officer's coat and a tight scowl. Commander Vectal, the alien introduced himself sharply. I don't agree with this decision, but I follow orders. Same, Jack said flatly. Vectal handed him a datapad. This is your squad. You'll take point on a strike mission at 600. Target: a Sylphar hive tunnel near Sector 9. Jack scrolled through the names. None were human. He expected that. I wasn't told I'd be leading anyone. You're not. Officially, they're leading themselves. You're just advising. Jack raised an eyebrow. And unofficially, you're responsible for results. The squad assembled in the hangar that night. 5 soldiers stood in formation, unsure whether to salute or walk away. Jack glanced at them. Ken, a young alien with thin gray skin and curious eyes. Shuri, a sharp-eyed pilot from the avian race, wings folded behind her. Morin, a heavy-armored reptilian, arms crossed, clearly unimpressed. Unit 7, a silent combat droid with blue sensor lights. And Tessa Yule, a no-nonsense sniper from the outer colonies, half human, half something else. Jack walked up slowly. I'm Jack Mercer. I don't care if you like me. I don't care if you trust me. I care if you follow orders and survive. No one spoke. Can looked nervous. Morin grunted. Any questions? Jack asked. Tessa stepped forward. Yeah. Why you? Jack stared at her. His voice was calm. Because everyone else failed. At dawn, they moved out. The ride in the dropship was quiet. Jack reviewed the map again. The Sylphar hive tunnels were deep underground. Biosigns showed heavy movement. Ambush likely. They landed just outside the hive entrance. Black spires jutted from the ground like broken teeth. The air smelled like rot. Jack moved first. The others followed, weapons ready. Inside the tunnel, the walls pulsed with faint green light. Webbing hung from the ceiling. Clicking noises echoed ahead. Then the attack came. Sylphar drones burst from the walls, spiked claws, armored shells, razor-sharp limbs. Form up, Jack shouted. He moved like lightning. His shots were clean, fast, brutal. He didn't hesitate. He didn't miss. The squad followed. Shuri covered the rear. Can threw grenades. Morin tore through 2 with his bare claws. Tessa watched Jack as he moved. Precise, silent, deadly. The swarm kept coming, but Jack kept them 1 step ahead. Every move was calculated. Every order clear. By the end, the tunnel was filled with black Sylphar bodies. No casualties on their side. Back at base, the squad walked off the ship, quiet and stunned. Vectal met Jack at the exit. Mission status. Jack handed him the pad. Objective cleared. 0 losses. Vectal frowned. Impressive, but reckless. Jack walked past him. You brought a human. What did you expect? Later, in the barracks, Can sat near Jack. You were incredible out there, Can said. Fast. Cold. Like you weren't even scared. Jack didn't smile. I was scared. I just didn't stop. Kane hesitated. Is that why they banned you? Jack looked away. His voice was quiet. No, they banned us because we don't stop. The Sylphar swarm was changing. In the black heart of their hive world, General Vorex stood surrounded by thousands of silent drones. He was taller than the others, armored in a pale, bone-like shell. His eyes glowed a soft red. A scout drone knelt before him and projected footage. Jack Mercer, cutting through swarm forces with brutal precision. Each movement, each kill, was recorded in sharp detail. Vorex watched in silence. A human, he hissed. The Accord broke their own law. He walked through rows of kneeling drones, his voice cold and smooth. Emotion, violence, instinct. That is the human curse and their strength. He stopped at a large cocoon hanging from the ceiling. Inside, something moved. "Prepare the hive," Vorex said. "We will break him." Back on Varelia, Jack sat in the command center, watching battle reports scroll across the screen. Red zones were expanding. The Sylphar weren't retreating. They were adapting. Vectal entered the room. He tossed a datapad onto the table. "There's a mission request. Deep recon. High risk. You're not cleared for it." Jack looked up. "Then why show it to me?" "Because someone thinks you'll do it anyway." Jack studied the mission details. A communications outpost near the swarm front had gone dark. Last transmission, cut off mid-sentence. Jack stood. "Prep the squad." The next evening, the team flew low over the war zone. Lightning flashed across the clouds. Fires burned in the distance. Inside the ship, tension was thick. Morin cleaned his blade in silence. Suri stared out the window. Tessa adjusted her rifle scope. Kan sat beside Jack. "Do you think we'll make it back?" Kan asked. Jack didn't look at him. "Doesn't matter. We're going anyway." The ship touched down near the comms tower. The area was too quiet. They moved in formation, weapons raised. The tower was partially collapsed. Burn marks everywhere. No signs of a fight. No bodies. Unit 7 scanned the area. Life signs. Negative. Atmosphere abnormal. Then, Kan froze. "Captain, look at this." He pointed to the walls. Burned into the metal, in human writing. They knew he would come. Suddenly, the swarm hit. They came from beneath the ground, bursting through soil and steel. The squad scattered. Explosions shook the field. Jack took charge immediately. Defensive circle. Cover each other. Kane was thrown back by a blast. Jack pulled him behind cover and fired at an incoming drone, blasting it to pieces. Tessa sniped from above. Suri provided aerial support. Morin charged into a wave, his roar echoing. It was chaos, but controlled. Within minutes, the swarm pulled back. Too easy. Jack's eyes narrowed. They weren't trying to kill us. They were watching. That night, back at base, the squad sat in the debrief room, shaken but alive. Jack walked into his quarters and found a new file waiting for him on his terminal. No sender. He opened it. Images appeared, footage from the Turan Wars. His own missions, his own kills. Then, a photo, his former team. All dead. Jack stared at their faces. One by one, they faded into static. Then came the message. "You remember what you are. So do we." Across the base, Tessa sat alone, rewatching footage from the mission. She paused it on a frame. Jack standing over Kan, eyes blazing, face covered in blood and dirt. She zoomed in. His expression was calm. Too calm. "You've done this before," she whispered. "A lot." In the war room, Vectal met with 2 other UPA officials. "This man is dangerous," one said. "Worse," Vectal replied. "He's effective." They stared at the map. Sylphar territory was shrinking. The question is, when do we stop him? In his dark quarters, Jack stared at the final message on his screen. His reflection looked back at him. He whispered to himself, "They were right to be afraid." The base was quiet the next morning. Too quiet. Jack stood alone near the training yard, watching his squad prepare. Kan ran drills with a serious face. Cherie cleaned her weapon in silence. Morin lifted heavy equipment like it weighed nothing. Tessa sat on a crate, watching Jack more than anything else. Something had shifted. The mission changed them. They'd seen Jack fight. They'd seen what he was capable of. They didn't speak about it, but the fear was there, in the silence, in the distance they kept now. Later that day, Jack was called to a secure briefing room. The lights were dim, the room empty except for a terminal. He sat down. The screen lit up. A file opened. Classified. Marked with UPA Level 1 clearance. He read in silence. It was a report from over a decade ago. the real reason the human combat ban was passed. The official story said humans were too dangerous, too emotional. The truth was worse. Humans had begun winning wars faster than any species in known history, not just with force, but with tactics, technology, and pure instinct. They weren't just dangerous. They were unbeatable, uncontrollable. Fear spread across the council. Unity would break. So they agreed. Silence Earth's voice and bury its soldiers. Jack sat back in his chair. "We weren't banned for what we did," he muttered. "We were banned for what we could become." That night, a mission alert came in. A UPA science convoy near the front lines had gone dark. The Silphar were closing in. Jack suited up and called the squad. "We're not waiting for orders," he told them. "We move now." No one argued. They flew low across dead fields. The convoy was found half buried in collapsed terrain. Craters surrounded it. Smoke filled the air. They landed quickly and spread out. Kane found the first body, burned, still strapped into a seat. Jack moved fast, scanning the area. Suri flew overhead and called out, "Movement, South Ridge." Then the trap sprung. Silphar crawlers burst from beneath the wreckage. But this time, they didn't attack blindly. They moved with formation. "Ambush." Tessa yelled, "Fall back." Jack shouted, "No, hold the line." The squad fought hard. Jack moved through the field like a storm, covering Khan, pulling Shuri out of a crash, throwing a grenade into a swarm pile before they could overwhelm Tessa. But then Khan screamed. A drone had him pinned. Jack ran, too far to stop it in time. The creature raised a claw and stabbed through Khan's chest. Jack fired, killing the drone instantly. He dropped to his knees beside Khan, blood pooling fast. Kane looked up at him, barely breathing. "You were right," he whispered. "We don't stop." Jack held his hand until the light faded from Khan's eyes. They returned to base broken and bloodied. Tessa walked straight to her bunk without a word. Suri sat by herself in the hangar, staring at nothing. Morin punched the wall hard enough to crack it. Jack went to the command center, still covered in blood. Vectal met him there. "You disobeyed protocol. I saved what was left. One of yours is dead." Jack's voice was cold. "That's what war does. You're not above orders." "I'm not above anything," Jack said. "I'm just the only one willing to do what has to be done." He turned and walked away. That night, Jack sat alone in Khan's bunk. The young soldier's gear was still there, neatly packed. Jack picked up a folded letter with Khan's handwriting on it. It was addressed to his family back home. He didn't open it. Instead, he put it in his own pocket. He stood up slowly, and he whispered to himself, with no one else to hear, "You are a better soldier than I ever was." Outside the base, in a hidden chamber beneath the Silphar hive, General Vorex stood before a new creature, a tall, humanoid form, built from both swarm and synthetic flesh. It opened its eyes. Vorex leaned in. "Now we will show them what a human really is." The storm rolled in fast. Dark clouds gathered over Varelia's eastern ridge as thunder rumbled across the ruined plains. Wind howled through the broken steel of abandoned bases. Silphar activity was rising. Their hives were spreading faster now. Too fast. In the command center, alarms blared. Vectal turned from the holomap. "We've detected a massive power spike deep within Hive Cluster 9. Something's happening." Jack Mercer stood at the edge of the room, arms crossed. His face was hard, empty. "They're not waiting anymore," he said. "This is their final move." Vectal hesitated. This could be a trap. Jack looked him in the eye. "Of course it is." Later that night, the squad stood near the hangar. Only 4 remained now: Jack, Tessa, Morin, and Shuri. None of them spoke about Khan. They didn't have to. His absence was everywhere. Jack pulled up the mission map. "We go in fast. Deep strike. One objective. Take out the hive core. We destroy it. We break their network. Morin growled. And if they've evolved again? Jack nodded. Then we kill them again. Harder. Tessa checked her rifle. We go in quiet. No, Jack said. We go in loud. The dropship flew low over the swarmlands. Acid rain hit the windshield. The sky was red, flashing with strange lightning. Below, the earth crawled. Sylphar drones covered the ground like ants. Cherie piloted fast and low. We'll only get one chance at this. Jack stood behind her, staring at the writhing black tower ahead. The hive core, pulsing with a sick green glow. We don't miss, he said. They landed hard. The ship lifted off before the swarm could react. The ground was alive, spongy, moving, hot under their boots. The air buzzed with energy. The hive core loomed over them, a twisted structure of bone, steel, and something organic. They moved fast. Tunnels led into the hive, wet, tight, breathing. As they moved deeper, the walls changed. They weren't just crawling. They were watching. Then came the attack. A wave of drones burst from the walls, screaming with high-pitched screeches. Blades and claws flashed. Jack moved first. Hold the line. Morin charged forward, roaring, tearing through drones with his massive fists. Suri dropped grenades from above. Tessa covered their flank with precise shots. Jack moved like a machine. Cold, calm, deadly. His blade sliced. His gun roared. They pushed deeper, step by step, blood and fire behind them. Then the tunnel opened. They entered a massive chamber, the hive core beating at its center like a giant heart. And standing in front of it was a man. No, not a man. It looked human. It moved like one. But its skin shimmered with swarm flesh. Its eyes glowed red. Jack froze. Vorex made this, Tessa whispered. The creature spoke. I am what you are, it said. What they feared you would become. Jack stepped forward, weapon raised. You're not me. No, the thing said. I am what happens when they stop fearing and start using. Then it attacked. The battle was brutal. The creature was fast, inhumanly fast. It fought like Jack, predicted his moves, matched his style. They slammed into walls, rolled through debris. Blades clashed, bullets flew. The squad tried to help, but the creature was locked on Jack. It didn't want them. It wanted him. You see now, the creature said, gripping Jack by the throat. We are not a curse. We are the end of weakness. Jack's eyes narrowed. You forgot one thing, he rasped. What? Jack slammed his blade into the creature's chest. I choose who I become. The thing staggered. Jack fired 3 clean shots into its skull. It dropped. The hive core pulsed violently. Lights flashed. The walls cracked. We need to go, now, Tessa shouted. Jack planted the last of their explosives around the core. They ran. The tunnel shook, collapsing behind them. Suri flew ahead, clearing the path. Morin carried Tessa when her leg gave out. Jack stayed last, covering them all. They reached the surface just as the core exploded. Blinding light, a shockwave, a massive collapse. The swarm across the plain screamed once and fell silent. The hive was dead. Back at base, silence fell. Reports came in. Sylphar across the sector were shutting down, falling still. The war was over. Jack stood in the hangar, covered in dust and blood. Vectal approached slowly. You did it. Jack didn't respond. You could stay, Vectal offered. Rejoin the Accord. Help rebuild. Jack looked at the stars. I wasn't meant to rebuild. He walked toward the hangar doors. Tessa watched him go. Where will you go now? He paused. Someplace quiet. The smoke had cleared. Across Varelia, the battlefield was quiet. No more swarms. No more hive signals, just silence and the slow return of breath to a planet that had nearly died. The war was over. Inside the UPA command center, diplomats, generals, and soldiers stared at the holomap. Sylphar hives marked in red had turned to black, dead. One by one, each signal faded out. Commander Vectal stepped forward and turned off the display. He looked around the room. "Send the message," he said. "The Sylphar threat has been neutralized." Victory confirmed. Outside the base, Jack Mercer stood on a hill, overlooking the ruins of the battlefield. His armor was cracked. His hands were dirty, but his eyes were calm. Tessa walked up behind him. "You did it," she said. "No," Jack replied. "We did." She handed him a data chip. "This holds your reinstatement order. High Command wants you back." Jack didn't even look at it. He placed it on a nearby rock. "I'm done." "You could lead the next generation," Tessa said. "Teach them. Show them how to fight the right way." Jack shook his head. "They already know how to fight. They just need to remember why." She hesitated. "What do I tell them?" He turned to her. His voice was quiet but strong. "Tell them the band stays. Tell them they were right to be afraid." Later that day, Jack visited Khan's memorial. A simple stone, no markings, just his name, carved carefully into the side by Shuri. Jack placed Khan's letter on the ground and stepped back. "I couldn't save you," he said, "but you saved me." The wind carried his words away. In a private UPA meeting chamber, high-ranking officials argued. He should be honored. He should be watched. He saved the galaxy. He reminded us why we banned them. Vectal listened quietly. Then he spoke. "We gave him one mission. He completed it. We don't owe him anything, except peace." They all nodded. The matter was closed. Sometime later, a small transport ship lifted off from Varelia. No escort, no destination filed. Jack Mercer sat in the pilot's seat, alone again. He didn't say goodbye. He didn't leave a message. He just left. As the ship entered the stars, Jack leaned back in his chair and closed his eyes. The war was over, and for the first time in years, he allowed himself to rest.